This photo wasn't meant to be mysterious, it was just a group of friends, hiking through the Ural Mountains in 1959, taking snapshots of their snowy journey. But one photo, buried deep in a recovered roll of film, changed everything. Among the last images taken before the group vanished under still debated circumstances, there's a frame showing a dark figure standing far off in the trees, too far to recognize, but close enough to give you chills. The person doesn't match anyone in the group. He, or it, is standing upright, motionless as if watching. There are no signs of movement, no indication anyone noticed it, just a figure half swallowed by the trees, frozen in time. What makes it worse is how calm the photo looks, until you spot the presence. That single unsettling detail. Theories exploded. Some say it's a Yeti, others think it's a secret operative. The photo was developed by investigators, and it's not a blurry mess, it's sharp, framed. Almost too perfect. Like the figure wanted to be seen. The story that follows is chaotic, but this one image is strangely still, silent, like it's waiting. And that silence says more than any report ever could. Some photos make you stop and stare. This one makes you question reality. In 2012, deep in the woods near Plovdiv, Bulgaria, hikers stumbled upon something they could never forget. It was supposed to be a quiet weekend hike, peaceful, uneventful, just them and the forest. But as they moved through a dense patch of trees, one of them paused and snapped a photo. Nothing unusual, until they got home and looked at it closely. In the distance, standing upright and still, is a pale, thin humanoid figure. Not human. Its head is unusually large, the limbs long and unnaturally shaped, the eyes glowing faintly as if reflecting light that wasn't there. The figure looks like something from a sci-fi movie, except this wasn't a movie set. No one noticed anything unusual in the moment, no sounds, no movement. The figure wasn't visible to the naked eye, only captured on camera. What's even stranger? The area has a long history of UFO sightings and unexplained lights in the sky. Locals have whispered about the watchers in the woods for decades. Some even believe there's an underground military base nearby that's been keeping secrets for years. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you see the photo, it doesn't feel like coincidence at all. Skeptics have tried to write it off. A smudge, a lens flare, a tree stump. But if you zoom in, the symmetry of the face, the curvature of the arms, the stance, it all feels too deliberate, too real, too alive. Conspiracy theorists point to this as one of the most underrated alien sightings ever caught on film. Unlike most blurry UFO photos, this one has clarity, shape, presence. And most importantly, it gives that unmistakable feeling that you're looking at something you're not supposed to see. This photo doesn't need a story to be creepy, it speaks for itself. A toddler is walking up the steps at Chillingham Castle in northern England, one of the most haunted places in the country. But just behind him, under the stone archway, stands something else. A dark figure, child-sized, head down, completely featureless. Almost like a shadow standing on its own. It's not a trick of the light. The figure has mass, shape. You can see the difference in color and density compared to the wall behind it. The boy's parents were just snapping vacation photos. They didn't see anything at the time. Only when reviewing the pictures later did this eerie silhouette appear, right where their child had been standing just seconds before. No one has been able to explain it. It doesn't match the angle of the sun or the boy's position. The figure seems to have its own outline, like it's standing still, watching quietly. Too small to be an adult, but too still, too defined to be a glitch or blur. Locals say there's a legend of a child who wanders the halls here, seen and heard by guests, especially near the courtyard. This photo might be the clearest visual proof of that story, or it could be something else entirely, something the camera caught by accident, or maybe not by accident at all. Take a long look at this photo. At first glance, it's just a dense patch of rainforest, overgrown, sun-dappled, and still. But look closer, right in the red circle. There's a figure half blending into the trees. It's not a branch, not a shadow. It's upright, roughly 4 feet tall, covered in short reddish hair. Its limbs are long, the posture distinctly bipedal, and it's watching. This image was taken in the jungles of western Sumatra by a hiker documenting local wildlife. No one noticed the figure until later while reviewing the pictures. Local villagers, though, knew what it was immediately. They've been talking about the orang pendek for generations, the short person of the forest. And they say this is exactly what it looks like. Scientists have dismissed the creature for years, calling it folklore. But this photo doesn't feel like folklore, it feels like evidence. The angle, the lighting, the texture, none of it looks staged. And it's not blurry. You can see the outline, the stance, the clear suggestion of eyes. Whatever this thing is, it doesn't belong to any known species cataloged in the area. It's not a monkey, not a bear, it's something else. And it wasn't running, it was just there, quiet, watching from behind the trees, as if it had been waiting to be seen. What's out there in the Sumatran jungle? This image might be our best clue yet. These photos are real. No filters, no edits, just untouched snow with something unnatural carved into it. In early 2009, deep in a quiet Austrian village, residents woke to find a strange trail in the fresh snowfall. Hoof-like prints, clean and evenly spaced, stretched across the ground. But not just over the earth. They curved through gardens, up walls, even across rooftops. The prints were single file, with no return trail. And they didn't break stride over fences or obstacles. The images taken that morning are eerie. One shows sharp, cloven shapes pressed deep into the powder, each step almost perfectly matched. The other is even stranger, a set of straight-line indentations going right through a yard, like whatever made them walked with purpose and precision. The pattern was impossible for any known animal. Deer don't walk like that. Hooves don't scale brick walls or balance across icy roofs. Locals called it Teufelspuren, devil's tracks. It echoed an incident from 1855 in Devon, England, where almost identical tracks were found after a snowstorm. Same look, same unnatural path. Skeptics say it could have been rabbits hopping, but these weren't ovals. They weren't scattered. They were deep, symmetrical, deliberate, and they appeared overnight without a sound. Something made these prints. The snow proves that much. The real question is, what didn't leave them? In October 2015, thousands of residents in Foshan, China, witnessed something they couldn't explain. Hanging in the clouds above the city appeared a second skyline, towering skyscrapers, clustered tightly together, glowing faintly in the mist. The buildings looked real, but they weren't there. A few people caught it on camera. The most famous photo shows it best, the ghostly city rising from the clouds like a scene from a science fiction movie. It lasted just minutes before fading into the haze. No one could identify the structures. They didn't match any city in the region. Meteorologists chalked it up to a fata morgana, a rare optical illusion caused by atmospheric conditions. But others weren't buying it. The clarity, the sharpness, the way the buildings cast their own shapes, it didn't look like a trick of the light. Some compared it to a glitch in reality. Others said it was a window into a parallel world or even a hologram test. Whatever the theory, the photo shows something that shouldn't be there. And yet, there it is, floating above a city that's not supposed to exist. This photo surfaced in 2018 after a father and son visited the ruins of Ainsford Castle in Kent, England. It was a casual trip, nothing unusual, until they checked the pictures. In one of them, a hooded figure stands silently in the archway. Tall, faceless, unmoving. No one was there at the time. The photo was taken in daylight. The figure is dark, robed, and distinct against the weathered stone. It's not a smudge. It's not a shadow. It has definition, volume, and it shouldn't be there. Paranormal researchers were quick to jump in, noting the castle's deep medieval roots and history of monastic life. Some say it's the spirit of a monk who once roamed the grounds. Others claim it's a visual echo burned into the place after centuries of grief and isolation. No editing was found, no costumes, just one frame, one robed figure, and a whole lot of silence. The image has spread across forums and news reports, but no one has explained it. And if it was a person, who was it and how did they vanish without a trace? A trail camera deep in the woods of eastern Kentucky captured a moment that still haunts the internet. The photo, triggered by motion, shows a pale humanoid figure crouched between trees. It's long-limbed, hairless, thin, and disturbingly human-shaped. Except not quite. The flash lit up the undergrowth just enough to reveal its posture. Bent knees, arms pulled inward. The head is turned slightly toward the camera, but no eyes can be seen. No fur, no clothes, no explanation. Locals had long spoken of things in the woods, silent watchers that don't belong to any known animal group. People call them crawlers or whispers, usually dismissed as folklore. But this image changed that. It doesn't look fake. The lighting matches, the shadows align, and the creature isn't running or hiding. It looks like it was waiting. Experts and skeptics tried to recreate the image. None came close. No costume, no human pose could match the shape or stillness of the thing in the frame. It's not blurry, it's not a camera glitch, it's just real. Too real. This unsettling image has been quietly circulating through deep corners of the internet for years. It shows a group of bizarre humanoid creatures, hairless, thin, and hunched, with distorted snouts and hollow, almost insect-like eyes. The texture of their skin is leathery and unnatural. Their clothes are minimal, almost tribal, yet something about the composition feels deliberate, almost staged or ritualistic. Some claim it's from an abandoned medical project in Eastern Europe. Others believe it's linked to a secret underground facility in Siberia, where bizarre human-animal hybrids were allegedly tested during the Cold War. Some say the photo was leaked, briefly posted, then scrubbed from every major platform, except a few copies survived. Whether it's altered, staged, or terrifyingly real, no one has been able to prove anything about it, and that makes it the perfect mystery. This photo looks ordinary at first, just a woman sitting comfortably in a vintage aircraft on display at an air museum in North Yorkshire. Her pose is relaxed, her expression calm, nothing out of place. Until you spot the cockpit seat behind her. Sitting there, unmistakably, is a figure, helmeted, suited, and transparent. You can see the full outline of a pilot, complete with visor and flight gear. The woman swore there was no one in that seat when the photo was taken, and the museum confirmed it. The aircraft was decommissioned, display only, with no mannequins or props placed inside. The photo, taken in the late 1980s, wasn't edited. It was developed the old-fashioned way. Film, darkroom, no tricks. The ghostly figure appears only in this frame, not before, not after. Some believe it's the spirit of a Royal Air Force pilot who once flew that very aircraft. Others suggest the image is a glimpse through time, a strange overlap of moments caught in a single flash. Whatever the explanation, the photo is real. And it's chilling. Not because of what's in focus, but because of who wasn't supposed to be there at all. This photo has been passed around for decades, black and white, grainy, and just strange enough to stick in your head. It shows a towering figure with a bulbous, spade-shaped head, glowing circular eyes, and long, claw-like hands. The lower half is hidden in a dark dress-like shape, almost mechanical. The trees behind it prove it wasn't a studio shot. This was taken in the woods, exactly where witnesses said they saw it. Back in 1952, a group of kids in Flatwoods, West Virginia, followed a streak of light across the sky. It crashed into a nearby hillside. What they found there wasn't a meteor. They described a 10-foot-tall figure with glowing eyes and metal armor. The photo lines up with their claims almost exactly, too closely for comfort. Skeptics said it's a costume or a scarecrow, but no one has ever found proof of a hoax, and the original source of the photo remains murky. Some believe it was taken by a local before the area was closed off. Others say it's a leaked image from a government file. Whatever its origin, this photo shows something that doesn't look human, and never claimed to be. The eyes stare blankly. The shape is unnatural, and the feeling it gives off, pure dread. This frame looks straight out of a horror film, but it wasn't part of any movie. Captured in the dark woods of Norway, this grainy, low-light photo shows a hulking, moss-covered figure crouched beside a pile of rocks. Its face is twisted, elongated, and not human. The shape, the posture, the size, it's all wrong. It looks ancient, almost fossilized, yet clearly alive. The photo was taken by a hiker who said he felt watched while exploring a remote mountain trail. He heard heavy footsteps behind him but saw nothing, until he turned back and snapped a quick shot toward the noise. What showed up wasn't a bear, wasn't a person, it was this. In Norwegian folklore, trolls are very real. Not fairy tale creatures, but dangerous beings that dwell in forests and stone. They're said to turn to rock in sunlight and hide deep in the hills. This photo reignited that belief for many. It's dark, yes, but the outline is there. The hunched back, the thick limbs, the face. Experts tried to debunk it as a costume or digital fake, but the lighting is consistent, and no source has ever claimed the photo as a prank or art. It just exists, unexplained and buried in the corners of the internet. If trolls were real, this is what one might look like. A casual photo inside Sefton Church in Merseyside, England, turned into one of the most talked-about ghost sightings of the 2000s. It was taken during a quiet visit. No tour groups, no events, just a camera and the quiet stillness of an old stone chapel. Yet when the photo came back, there was someone, or something, standing in the aisle. The image shows a figure near the pews, wearing what looks like dark, old-fashioned robes and a stark white collar. The details are oddly clear. The posture is rigid, almost ceremonial. But no one else had been in the building. The photographer swore they were alone. Even the church staff confirmed there were no reenactments or costumed actors scheduled that day. This wasn't a blur or a streak, the figure was solid, symmetrical, almost like it had posed for the shot. Paranormal researchers believe it may be the spirit of a clergyman from centuries past. Others think it's a visual remnant, a kind of energy echo left behind. The photo remains unexplained, but one thing is certain. Whoever that figure was, they weren't supposed to be there. And they never left a single trace behind. Bermea is an island you can see, but only on paper. For centuries it appeared on official maps off the northern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. Spanish explorers charted it in the 1500s. U.S. naval records from the 20th century show it clearly marked. Old atlases place it precisely, latitude, longitude, everything. You can find satellite images and government-issued maps where Bermea sits quietly in the Gulf of Mexico, just waiting to be visited. But when a modern research expedition went out to find it, there was nothing. No shoreline, no reef, no raised sandbar, just miles of open ocean. One of the most chilling things is the image of the GPS monitor showing the boat hovering exactly where Bermea should be. The dot is there, but the island isn't. It's like it's been erased from reality but not from the data. Some say the island sank due to natural erosion. Others suggest it was a mapping error that somehow went unnoticed for hundreds of years. But then, why do different maps, across multiple centuries, show it in the same spot? And why was it only missing after the early 2000s? At first glance, this photo looks like a still from a wildlife documentary, until you notice what's lurking between the trees. In the center of the frame, hunched yet towering, is a creature covered in dark fur. It's not fully facing the camera, but the outline is clear: massive shoulders, long arms, pointed ears, and a snout. This was taken in Cannock Chase, a forested area in Staffordshire, England, already known for reports of strange lights, black-eyed children, and now, this. The image was captured by a local hiker who said he heard movement ahead, pulled out his phone and blindly snapped a photo before running in the opposite direction. What he caught was no bear, not a boar, not a person in costume. The lighting is natural, the figure is solid, the shadows fall exactly where they should, and the creature appears mid-turn, as if it had just noticed it was being watched. Sightings of a werewolf-like creature in Cannock Chase go back decades. Some say it's tied to ancient curses. Others blame military experiments from the Cold War era. Whatever the theory, this photo is the clearest visual evidence anyone's gotten. And it's enough to make you think twice about wandering off the trail. In the middle of the West Texas desert near the small town of Marfa, people have been seeing something strange for over 100 years. Glowing orbs, white, red, blue, appear just above the horizon. They flicker, float, split into two, then vanish. And no one has ever figured out what they are. Photos exist, but they never fully capture the intensity. One of the clearest images shows two glowing spheres hovering low to the ground, just outside the scrub. There's no source, no wires, no roads. The lights aren't headlights. They move in ways headlights can't, darting, pausing, changing direction. Scientists have tried to explain them as mirages or reflections from distant traffic. But the first recorded sightings happened in the 1800s, long before cars. Locals, hikers, and travelers have all seen them, and the same photo has been recreated again and again by different cameras, different people, different decades. Some believe it's underground energy, others think it's something not of this world. Whatever they are, they've been showing up for generations. And the Marfa lights still glow, as if waiting for someone to finally understand them. Scattered across the forests and hills of Ireland, you'll find one of the country's strangest natural phenomena. Perfect circles of mushrooms, known as fairy rings. Some are small, barely a few feet across. Others stretch over 30 feet wide, growing in eerie symmetry where no human hand has touched the ground. Photographs of these rings are surreal. Mushrooms evenly spaced, forming near-perfect circles on untouched forest floors. No signs of wildlife disturbances, no tools, just nature, acting a little too precise. These rings have appeared for centuries, sometimes overnight. Locals don't need an explanation. They know what they are. According to Irish folklore, these circles mark places where the fae or fairies gather. Step inside one and you risk being taken, or worse, losing time. People have reported strange dreams, disorientation, or even vanishing for hours after walking through one. Scientists explain the rings as fungal colonies growing outward in a circle. That's the textbook version. But it doesn't explain how some rings seem to pulse with growth even in dry conditions, or why photos show ground within the circles often looks different. Darker, sunken, or oddly preserved. It washed up in 2008 on a beach near Montauk, New York. A hairless, bloated creature with a beak-like mouth, clawed limbs, and leathery skin. The photo, snapped by a passerby, went viral instantly. It didn't match anything known. Not a raccoon, not a dog, not a sea turtle. It looked manufactured. The photo was sharp. You can see the teeth, the odd snout, the curled fingers. Conspiracy theories exploded. Some believed it escaped from Plum Island, a nearby government facility rumored to test on animals. Others said it was a failed experiment, a cryptid or something not of this earth. No autopsy, no follow-up, the body vanished. Only the image remains. Unsettling, unsolved, unforgettable. Boot Hill Graveyard in Tombstone, Arizona is full of Old West history, but one tourist photo taken in the 90s revealed something it shouldn't have. A man dressed in period clothing poses casually near a gravestone. Behind him, a transparent figure in a cowboy hat, holding a long rifle, seems to rise from the ground. The figure wasn't seen in person, and it wasn't added later. Experts found no signs of tampering. The angle, lighting, and depth all match perfectly. Paranormal enthusiasts believe it's a long-dead outlaw still keeping watch. Skeptics are still scratching their heads. The photo's been examined, debated, even digitally enhanced. But the ghostly rider is always there. In the dense woods near Monnon Church, Cornwall, strange things have been seen, and even stranger things photographed. The most chilling account dates back to 1976, when two young girls saw what they described as a birdman hovering above the trees. That encounter became legend, and soon after a sketch appeared, tall, human-shaped, wide wings and a sharp-beaked face with glowing red eyes. It wasn't folklore, it was drawn by a witness on the very same day. Years later, a photo surfaced that seemed to bring the sketch to life. It shows a massive owl-like creature standing silently among the trees, tall as a human, maybe more. The figure is hauntingly close to the original sketch. The same unnatural proportions, the same piercing stare. Locals say the owlman appears before tragedy or major changes in the area. Some say it's a guardian, others believe it's a warning. Whatever it is, the consistency between that old drawing and the modern photo is impossible to ignore. That's about it. Which photo scared you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.